Good morning. We are live. This is Operation Turning Point. My name is Dominique. I am the founder and the CEO. We are excited. If you are watching this on Facebook, it is Saturday, August 8th. It is currently 8:05 a.m. So we are excited. We just wanted to let you know a little bit about what we are doing. Operation Turning Point is a 501c3. We are a nonprofit organization. As you can see on our website, which is www.operationturningpoint.org, our mission is to feed, clothe, shelter, and provide other resources to the homeless and less fortunate. So we started this, knowing that people need food, people need shelter. Even last year, when you look on the statistics, 427 people were homeless in the Greater Virginia Peninsula. That includes James City County, Yorktown, Williamsburg, Hampton, Newport News, and Pocosin. So out of that, 427 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think about it, that's about a stadium. So if you think about it, you've got a good bit of people who don't have steady housing. A good percentage of those people were unsheltered. So, for the Virginia Consortium, they look at homelessness as, okay, well, they don't have anywhere steady to stay. They don't have, they may be staying with friends. They may be staying with family. They may be staying in their car, whatever that situation may be. However, unsheltered means they're sleeping outside. So we are looking to go ahead and make sure that we have funds to take care of that. Since April, we have been able to provide food to our community. So far today, we've done about 3,500 meals. We feed twice a week. Started Monday and Friday. Now we are doing Tuesday and Thursday. We are here every Tuesday and Thursday from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. So when you think about, homelessness, when you think about hunger, the media will have you thinking that, hunger is a little girl in India, who, global nations need to reach out to help her. But hunger really looks like your friend in the church. Hunger really looks like, the person that you go to work with every day, that you never know if they, a paycheck can only stretch for so far. You have to think about, where did my money for my bills go? It pays the rent, it pays the car if you have a vehicle, it pays bus fare or ferry fare if you don't have a vehicle, whatever you mean of transportation. And then after that, it's just like, how can I stretch $1? From that point, it's like, okay, well, I have, let's say you can pay $1,000 a week. If your rent is already $800, out of that, if you split it up, you've got $400 gone. And if you don't split it up, you've got $800 gone. Then let's say if you're in the church, you have to pay, your church duties, your church obligations. And if you're not in the church, you still have your other obligations to go through. And by that time, that money is gone. That money is $1,000. People think that, oh, okay, well, I got my stimulus check. I got $1,200. Just as the basic, I got $1,200. $1,200, people can spend that in a weekend on actual needs, not just going to the store and, buying Twizzlers and fruit roll-ups, but actually, not even getting their hair done, buying for them, paying a bill that they couldn't have paid last month because, they may have been unemployed. We've got to, we think about homelessness and hunger, thinking that, okay, the media tells us, like I said, hunger is a little girl in India, with face dirty and all that stuff. No, that's not what hunger looks like. Hunger really looks like just the average Joe, the average Mary Jane, the average Sandra, the average Dominique, that, they don't have any food. They don't have any food. The food bank probably is closed on the weekend. Unless they're able to go to a community event, they don't have any options. And we want to make sure that what we are doing is to get the food for them, to make sure that we're able to take care of their needs, make sure that we're able to provide, not do for them when they're able-bodied, because there are a lot of people that want to do for themselves and can't. There are a lot of people, everybody is not looking for a handout. People really, in this day and age, are really just looking for a hand up. They're looking for a way to get out of their situation. It could be a wife or a husband in this day and age running from an abusive situation. It could be, a child that's running from an abusive situation. We want to make sure that we understand that we're trying to change this the stigma of homelessness. We're trying to change the stigma of hunger, because again, it's not just as simple as, what you would think that it looks like. It really isn't. Even with homelessness, we want to make sure that what we are raising right now, we're working to raise $50,000 to make sure that we can provide housing. We're looking to actually get homes and put people in them, not just give them, a coupon for the night, because that doesn't fix their situation. After you give them the coupon for the night, where are they going to still sleep? They're still in that situation. We want to work on providing temporary shelter, emergency shelter, transitional shelter. We've already spoken with the city. The city says you don't need any special permits for Newport News. You just need to have a place to put them. So we've already done the legwork. We're already a registered charity, so we can ask for donations. We're already a 501c3. We've been that since 2017. So we can accept donations, and your donations are tax deductible. Again, visit www.operationturningpoint.org. You can see that we have volunteer opportunities. You can see our contact information, You can also see our ways to pay. So we just want to make sure that right now we're doing everything that we can. The pandemic, even before the pandemic, people had situations going on. Even before the pandemic, people had things going on in their lives. However, when the pandemic hit, you have to think, if the government is bailing out businesses, that situation has to drastically affect someone who wasn't even able to start a business before this pandemic. That situation has to affect someone who wasn't able even to get a PPP loan. There were business owners who that was their means of living, their business living or dying. So once your business goes, at that point, that's what you relied on. That was your income. Not everyone is going to work a 9 to 5. Not everyone is going to work an 11 to 7 overnight graveyard shift. There are some people out there that are business owners that are trying to do the best that they can. And for them, their business provides their food. Their business provides their shelter. Their business provides their means of living, their means of, being. So we just are reaching out and making sure that we can do everything that we can to, help everyone that we can. We're making sure that, okay, if we can provide, a stipend for the night. If someone just says, look, I have somewhere to go, I just can't do it today. $100 will make sure that person or that family has shelter for the night. And if it's just an individual, we may be able to shelter them for the entire weekend, for a two day, depending on the location. Probably, with everything going on, it's probably going to be just one night. But that's how important even just $100 is. Just, your stretch. A dollar provides a meal to one person. So you have to think, if I can do $1 to one person or $100 to the next family, what can I do to support it? How can I make sure that, okay, my income that I'm able to do, okay, maybe, I did my stimulus, I saved, I did a little bit. How can I make sure that the next person has something? Can I pay it forward? So again, we want to make sure that we are paying it forward. We want to make sure that, we are supporting our friends, supporting our neighbors, supporting our family. Because again, it could be anyone. It doesn't just have to be, the person that you think that it is. Even as I was delivering meals on this week, I saw a couple on the street. I gave them a meal, not because I expected anything, didn't ask their name, didn't ask their number or anything. They just said, hey, I need help. And that's what we're about. I gave them a flyer just to say, hey, we're here. This is the location that we deliver, because like I said, I ran into them on the corner, but I wanted to make sure that they knew that, hey, I don't want anything from you. I want to help you. I don't know your situation. I'm not out here trying to preach to you. I'm not out here trying to say, well, you're the reason that you're out here. No, I don't know their situation. I don't know why they were on that corner yesterday. I don't know what that reason is. I just know that because of what we do, and because I was already out distributing meals even on yesterday evening, I was able to use that and provide a meal to them. We have partnered with Mercy Chefs. I cannot say this enough. I'm so grateful for their partnership. They have provided every single meal that we have issued. They have provided. So, even as you talk about what we do, we want to definitely make sure that we're still out here supporting and promoting other organizations, because without their organization, we would not have been able to feed in the extreme that we have been able to. Like I said, we've done 3,500 meals. That's a lot. And you have to think about, that's 3,500 times that someone didn't have to worry about, how am I going to feed myself? How am I going to feed, my family? How am I going to feed my kids? Because we think about, just us, there are individuals who don't have children. You have to think about the children that can't provide and can't do for themselves. We have children that they depend on their parents, and if their parents have a situation, they're all in the house looking at each other like, okay, water can only feed a need, but so far you still have to eat. Yeah, you can go 7 days without food, but you cannot go 7 days without drinking. And after that, then what do you do? So, we're just making sure that everything that we do, every person that we touch knows that we love them. They know that we care. They know that we are not looking to get anything from them, that we're just here to support them, to let them know that, hey, however you need me, I'm here. However however I can help you, I'm here. We're raising funds. Every single contribution does not go in my pocket. I do not get a salary from this. I do not benefit from this outside of maybe putting gas in a vehicle. I don't get a salary from this. So every single dime that you contribute, every dollar, every $100, every $500, every $1,000 goes directly into the bank. It goes directly into our organization to feed our mission, to drive our mission. I'm very passionate about what we do. I'm very passionate about what we do and how we do it. And we want to be better. We want to be bigger. We want to do more. Yeah, 3,500 meals is a lot, but we still want to make sure that beyond that, we're taking care of their other needs. Because even if once they get fed, we want to make sure that they are housed, and we want to make sure that they're able to make the transition. Because our housing isn't permanent. Our housing is a stepping stone and a stepping tool for them to take care of themselves. Because again, most people are able-bodied. Those who are chronically homeless, we want to figure out, why are you chronically homeless? Is it a situation of jobs? Is it a situation of finances? We have people on, we have volunteers. We have someone coming later today to talk about, even life insurance. We want to make sure that, why is it that you're homeless? Not that we want to judge you. We genuinely want to help you. We've already talked to and partnered with the Virginia Career Network. I've spoken with a lady there at the volunteer fair, and she said, hey, just pass out this information to your person that you have. So we want to pass out all the job information, because there are some people that are just possibly homeless just because they don't have money. They want to make sure that, if they want to make sure that, okay, if they don't have a job, how can they do it? Because even, let's say you need a job, you still need an address, because if they don't offer direct deposit, they need somewhere to mail the check. So that's why we're doing it. We want to make sure that with the housing situation, that they have a permanent address. Because whether you realize it or not, a permanent address drives everything. It drives everything. I remember, for me, I didn't have a permanent address at once. And I had to get a post office box. And you can't, if you think about it, you can't use that P.O. box for anything, almost, unless you have street addressing. Fortunately, mine does. So, I was able to use the street addressing, but let's say they don't have a permanent address. There's so many different sites, there's so many different places that say, you know what, and it says no P.O. box. So they don't have an address. What we are looking to do is make sure that they are able to have that address, just somewhere that they can say, okay, this is where I'm staying. No, it's not a permanent situation. I appreciate the help, and let me see what I can do to dig myself out and to claw myself out of this situation, because I don't want to stay here. I remember when, just to be very transparent, I remember when I was homeless. I was sleeping in my car, And no one knew. This was several years ago, and no one knew that I was sleeping in my car. No one knew that I didn't have anywhere to stay. And it took someone very close to me to say, why are you sleeping in your car? I had to let them know what was going on. I had bad credit decisions. I had ran my credit into the ground, just thinking that, because no one told me about credit. No one told me. I didn't have family members. I didn't have people in my circle to say, hey, when you get that first card at 18, don't spend it all right away. Let me tell you, when I got my first card at 18, I maxed it out. I was going Christmas shopping, bought my mother a camera, bought, my kids something, because at that point I had just my daughter. I bought her stuff, and it was just a small amount. It was $500. Do you know that stayed on my credit for 7 years? Because I didn't know. And I didn't think to pay it off. I just said, oh, well, I don't have the money. Okay. Because at that time, again, just being fully transparent, at 8:21 in the morning, I didn't have steady income. My very first job, I was working at Pizza Hut. Got in there, I was pregnant. So you already know that I'm already up against the grain. So at 17, I'm pregnant, working at Pizza Hut. Okay, great. At that time, minimum wage was $5.15. We complain about it being $7.25 now for those, who are getting that wage, but $5.15, that wasn't a lot. And that was 2003. That wasn't a lot. So now, and even then, I had to beg them for a 30-cent raise. 30 cents, I had to go through a performance evaluation and everything for 30 cents. 30 cents over the course, that doesn't even make a big dent in anything. But at that time, that's what they were able to do. So, I took it, I was humble, I was appreciative. But looking back on it now, had I known at 18 the different situations and the different actions that me taking would affect my life going forward, I definitely would have made some different choices. I definitely wouldn't have said, let me max out this card at 18. I'm all that in a bag of chips because I'm able to buy Christmas stuff for the first time. Because you got to think, at 18, I've had this newfound independence. I've already graduated high school, graduated on time, even with my kid. And I said, you know what? Okay, and I'm working. So I'm doing, everything that I need to do. No, not at all. The bank took my $500, or they extended the $500, and they said, okay, thank you, but we won't be able to do anything else. Because I've even tried to go back for something else later, and they said, oh, well, because of this history, this affects you in this way. Because of the things you do at 18, people don't realize the things that you do starting at 18, your credit profile, starts at 18. Yes, you can be on your parents' credit cards and things like that beforehand, but your credit profile, where you are your own independent entity, you are not a person, you are an entity. That's a whole different conversation. Your credit profile starts at 18, so everything that you do from 18 until you leave this earth affects you some way, somehow, whether good or bad. So if you, like me, make a decision to say, I'm going to get this $500 credit card and I'm not going to pay it off, you have to think, that was my very first negative situation ever. My negative anything. So from 18 on, you have to think, from 18 to 25, at that point, I already have one strike against me. I don't care if I did everything else right. I have this credit card that shows that I was a liability. I could not even pay $500. And you have to think, let's say I'm trying to get an apartment at 18, which I did. I had to explain to them why I had this charge off on my credit. I couldn't explain it. I couldn't say, hey, I was working, but I just decided not to pay it because I didn't understand how to pay it. Because I didn't. Genuinely, I didn't understand how to pay it. I didn't know that when you get a credit card that you're supposed to keep 30% of the balance, that's all you're supposed to use. So out of 500, I was only supposed to use 150. How do you know that if you don't go to these credit counseling classes and you don't do all of these studies and all of this research, or at least have a financial advisor in your life, a CPA, an accountant, a bookkeeper, a business-minded person? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know that the other 350, wasn't available for me to spend. I spent it all, one fell swoop. So by the time it went for me to have to pay it back, I couldn't. Of course, at that point, I'm making $515. At that point, I think it was $545. How can I pay off $500? I can't. So, that started my situation. So then from there, yeah, I made, other situations where, okay, I was able to get the apartment. Okay, great. But I still had to explain that. And then, again, not being able to work, I had to leave that apartment because I couldn't afford it. I moved in with someone at 18. Worst decision. It wasn't that bad, but I shouldn't have done it at 18. Hindsight is 20/20, so that's why I try and make sure that, I talk to everyone that I know, or even people that I don't know that are willing to talk, and let them know, you have options. Don't necessarily go in on this debt with this person, because you going in on a debt with someone, regardless of whether they pay or not, that debt's yours. That debt belongs to you. If you co-sign with someone and they don't pay it, that's on you. If you are on something and someone co-signs with you and you don't pay it, that's on both of y'all. And, I didn't have anybody to tell me that. I didn't have anybody to say, hey, this is what's going on. So by that time, I'm just accumulating other things. And, didn't have a vehicle at that time. Like, I had a vehicle that was paid off. Like, I didn't have a car note. Let me explain that. I didn't have a car note, so I didn't have that to work on my favor. Because you don't realize the different pieces of your credit profile that affect you. You don't realize what can help you, what can hurt you, what can benefit, what isn't good, what is good, things like that. So I didn't know. So by the time it came, here we are, like I said, several years, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to stay. All these bad decisions that I made on my credit profile, they affected me, and I didn't know. I didn't know. They weren't like super huge things, never owed $1 million, anything like that. But like I said, a simple $500 credit card affected me because I didn't know. I didn't know what to do, what not to do. Yeah, I know better now, but now I'm 35. Come October, Lord sees fit. So now, at 34, I'm like, okay, well, now I know what to do, but I didn't at 18. But again, that was 16 years ago. So you have to think every decision that you make, whether good or bad, that you do as far as anything with debts, loans, or anything like that, that affects your credit profile, it stays there for 7 years. So if you made a good decision, you've got that good decision riding out for you for 7 years. If you made a bad decision, you've got that bad decision riding out for you for 7 years. And with that, that affects you being able to get a car. That affects you being able to get a house. That affects you, depending on what job you try and get, that affects you trying to get a job. I tried to go into the Air Force and they said no at 18 because of the credit card. I couldn't even get into the military, the branch that I wanted to go to, because I had a credit card debt of $500. I don't know whether, me going into the Air Force or not would have been a good or a bad decision. I will never know because of that one mistake that I made. That instead of going to the Air Force and possibly having either a career or military benefits or anything like that, I never got that opportunity. So I was stuck working for $545. So you have to think, everything isn't just what it looks like on the surface. Like if you would look, you would have never known that I couldn't get into the Air Force because of a $500 credit card debt. But they said with them, it looks like you're a liability. For them, it didn't matter the amount. It didn't matter how much it was. For them, they said, you know what? It looks like you're open to taking bribes. Because if you have bad credit, and like I said, for them, it was only that $500. They said, because you did that and it did not pay off in your favor, it was a charge off or a write off, and you didn't pay it. It looks like, if that situation, like you're hard up for money. That's what it looks like. So if you ever talk to a financial advisor, they will tell you your debt to income ratio is important. Because if you have something on your credit, it'll tell them one or two things. Either you pay everything off, and whatever loan or service or anything that they're trying to give you or render, if it's something that you have to pay back in installments, that'll tell them whether they should pay it or whether they already will come off on the negative. Because if they have to pay something, let's say you try and get let's say we're talking about a homeless friend that's trying to get a house. My situation, let's say the credit card debt was $5,000 and they're trying to get a house, they're already out the whole $5,000. That's already telling the lending agency or the lending company that if you get in this house, they're probably not going to pay you either. We have to think about all of that. And you never know. Like I said, that's just my situation. I'll never know if I was able to go into the Air Force or not because of that $500 credit card. But, I was able to make other decisions that moved me in the right direction once I learned. And that's what we want to make sure that we're able to do. We want to make sure that we're able to teach people or even partner them with other organizations, because there are several organizations. If we're not able to teach them and get them everything that they need, whether they might need a CPA to get tax advice, they say, okay, well, I got my stimulus payment. What does that mean? That means that it's not free money and that it's a tax credit. But everybody doesn't know that. So if you go to spend this $1,200 and you didn't invest it wisely, or you weren't able to, use it, you don't know that they're counting that from your money that you're already going to get. That affects your taxes. Like everyone with the stimulus payment, they have to explain this on their taxes. If you got it and you did not return it, they have to explain it. And you don't think about all of these things that you need to ask questions for. Because, even people right now, I know, grown people, and I say grown because I'm talking about over 21, over 18, that are mature and, are responsible for themselves. So there are older people, let me say it that way. There are people over 21 that still don't know. And they don't necessarily have to be black. They don't necessarily have to be white, Asian, Hispanic. And it doesn't matter the race. It doesn't. There are so many different communities that we're not, because we don't know what you don't know. So I didn't know about my credit card. So I didn't know to tell the next person what I didn't know. So and I don't know who may have helped me, but maybe they didn't know. I will never look back in my life and say, oh, well, so-and-so should have told me. They might not have known. I can't fault them. I can't say that, my boyfriend at the time should have told me. That's not his responsibility. From the IRS standpoint, I'm responsible for myself. From the bank standpoint that I got the credit card through, I signed for that debt myself. I didn't ask my mom, my dad, my boyfriend, my sister, my brother to sign for me. I signed for it for myself. So I was responsible for myself. And at that point, I'm legally obligated to take care of my responsibilities. We want to make sure that financial education is important. I'm staying on this subject so much because there are always reasons to why someone is in the situation that they're in. There's always a reason. Whether we like the reason, whether we agree with the reason, whether we even understand the reason, there's always a reason that someone is in that situation. There's always a reason that, someone is either homeless, and it may not be their fault. So I don't want to say that there's a reason and they're at fault. So don't take away that from what I've said. No, I'm saying that there's always a reason. For me, it was because of my card situation, and I was making $545. In 2003, $515 was the going rate, and then of course it increased later in 2009. But you have to think about all that time. That was the rate. That was the wage. And we think about $725 now, and then some people are like, $725. I can't make it on $725. I'm sure. With the cost of everything going up, it's hard to keep that. It's hard to say, okay, well, $725. Let's do the math real quick. I apologize that I'm on my phone, but that's the quickest way for me to do it because I don't have my paper beside me. So $725. Let's say you make 40 hours a week, right? So $725 times 40, and then let's say you get paid every 2 weeks. That's $580. Let's say they take out, I think taxes are about 15%. So you take out that, and then, with Social Security and Medicare, you're looking at under $400 every 2 weeks. What, at the basic, let's say you get a studio apartment, an efficiency, or even a one bedroom. That's at least $500 to $600 right there. But you're only making $400 every 2 weeks on $725. And again, that's assuming you're working full-time hours. That's not part-time. That's not, let me go in at one day and then come back the next day. That's showing up every day for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. We don't want to say overtime because overtime isn't required and overtime isn't guaranteed. So on the basics, you're making about 400 to 450 every 2 weeks, depending on what state you're in, what location you're in, the applicable taxes, things like that. That's why, like I said, I didn't go all the way through. But, you're looking at 400 to 450 every 2 weeks. That's $900 a month. So you got $900. Again, that's how much you're bringing home. Let's say you work just one job, because assuming you have other responsibilities, because who knows? We don't know what everyone has going on in their life. They might have kids, they might have friends, they might have family, or anything that they may have to take care of. So maybe they're only able to work 40 hours a week. So $900 minus, let's say again, at the low end, you got like an efficiency location, and you're able to get a lower one for, $500. So you got $400 left. Let's say with that, you have to do food. You have, let's say on the cheaper end, you've got about $150. So right now you only have $250. Let's say you have to get either a bus, a ferry, the metro, the subway, or whatever, depending on your location. You also have to get or gas if you have a car. So that's another $100. Then you have to make sure that, you have your other incidentals. Your money's gone off of $900, and that's stretching it. That's on the very low end. There are some places, even here in Newport News, where the basic rent is $600, $700 for a one bedroom. For a one bedroom, $700. And in 2003, I think mine was $499. So mine was $499 for I think I had a one bedroom. No, I had a two bedroom because I had my daughter. So I had a two bedroom at $499. So automatically, again, looking at the calculator, so let's say I made $545 times 40 times 2. So $436 is my gross. Forget about anything that has to come out of my check. Like I said, taxes. I didn't have health insurance at that time, but taxes, I had to pay that. So on the basics, at 2 weeks, I haven't even made enough to cover my rent. On the basics, at 2 weeks, I'm working out here and I'm already in the hole. So you have to assume that, okay, what can I use with the other part of it? Because you want to do it again. Two, excuse the noise. We're setting up in the background, so I apologize. At the basics, I grossed $872. Out of that, $500 is already gone, and I haven't even taken out the taxes. That's just gross. And assuming I was working full time. And at that time, I wasn't. They did not want everyone to work full time. Most businesses, they don't want to, again, let's say fast food. Most fast food places, they don't want to pay full time because it costs more, because you get a higher chance of paying overtime. No business wants to pay overtime. You lose money that way on their side. It's beneficial to us. Of course, you want to go in making 50 hours a week. You're complaining that you're tired, but you look at your check, oh my God, yes, I made all that money. But for a business, they don't want to pay that. So I wasn't even making 40 hours a week. I think I was making about 30. So let's do that. 545 times 30 times 2. I almost cut it by a good 100. I'm now at 327 that I made for 2 weeks. And again, remember, my rent is what? $500. So I haven't made that. I haven't even made my rent. So even if, let's say, you multiply it in your head times 2, yeah, that's $654. Remember, we haven't taken out taxes. Remember, we haven't taken out anything else. I haven't covered how I'm even going to get to work. I'm just covering what it costs for me to actually work. And that's the situation that we are running into. There's so many people who are working just to be able to work. They're working just to say, I have a job. There's so many people right now, even before the pandemic, that were underemployed. Underemployed means you're not even making your regular wage, because you've already, not made enough that you need to make. You already are undervalued based on whatever you bring to the table. So, with that, you have to think about, and again, I teach people because I want people to understand that it's not just homeless people. I don't want people, and I read a blog or an article where someone was talking about how, they were with their kids and they had just gotten food like hot dogs, and, it wasn't in this area, hot dogs and snow cones or something. I think they were at a carnival. And the lady was saying how a homeless guy ran up to them, wasn't offensive, wasn't intrusive, wasn't anything. And she kind of guarded her kids. She kind of sheltered her kids. And she said, in hindsight, I thought about it. That could have been a good opportunity to talk to this person, or at least to provide him with some food. But instead, I sheltered my my children, thinking that I'm protecting them. But I could have used that with my children as a teaching lesson to show them that, homelessness is not bad. Homeless people are not bad people. We think about homeless people, and again, the media will have you thinking that homeless people, all they do is vandalize, all they do is tear down stuff. All they do is sleep in their tents and they leave trash everywhere and they mess everything up. No, they don't. There are people that do that, but I'm not going to restrict it to just homeless people, because that wouldn't be fair to the homeless community, because that's not the truth. There are a lot of people that I have seen personally, just, whether it's as a part of me doing, the work of Operation Turning Point, or just in my personal life, that, are good people. They just want to do what they can do. They know that they're in the situation, and whether it's their fault in their mind or if it's not their fault, they just want to say, you know what, I'm out here and I'm trying to work. I was watching, there was a video on The View that I was watching earlier, not today, but a couple days ago. And Kelly Clarkson. There was a video with Kelly Clarkson, just a little snippet. I was on Facebook, that's where I was scrolling Facebook just to either get inspiration for things or there's a lot of education on Facebook, believe it or not. So I was looking up there, and Kelly Clarkson had these two people up there, one black guy and one white guy. And, the media would have you think that the black guy was the one that was homeless. And it wasn't, it was the white guy. And that's not to say that black people are better, or not to say that white people are better. That's just to say what the media portrays. So, this is not a black lives, white lives situation. This is what it is. And I will say, because of my media stereotype, the way the media is stereotypical, and I look at it, I just automatically assumed that it was a young black guy. And it wasn't. And I was surprised, and I had to humble myself. This was just a couple of days ago. Because the older white guy was the one that was homeless. The older white guy was the one. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't in this area. It was with Kelly Clarkson in her location. And the black guy was talking about how he's a real estate investor. And he had purchased a dilapidated building. This is like the We Buy Houses situation that you see on the side of the road. That's what those people do. They buy houses. They either, flip them for themselves and let other people buy them, or they flip them and make them rental properties. And that's what he was doing. He was making it a rental property. And, he was talking about how there were several homeless people in that area, actually living in the building. Because, again, they're trying to get away from the elements. Rain, sleet, wind, hail, whatever have you at that time. They didn't discuss whether it was summertime or winter, fall or spring. So, they were talking about how there were people in that area, in the homes themselves. It was like a multi-unit building. It was like a multi-building unit, correction. And the one guy that was there, again, the older white gentleman, he was there and he was inside the building. And the younger black gentleman was talking about how he was saying, okay, well, I don't know what I need to do. I don't know what I need to do, because in that situation, I don't want to be offensive, and I don't want to just say that I'm just putting them out, but this is my property now. So he was respectful, and he just let them know that, I've acquired this property now, and you all will have to leave. And the gentleman, again, the white gentleman, I can't remember his name, so I apologize for using race, and please don't, I'm not a prejudiced or racial person, so this is just to give you an understanding of the media stereotypes and the media bias. The older gentleman, I'll say it that way, the older gentleman was saying that, okay, I don't care what you're doing, I'm going to come back and I'm going to work, because I need to actually work. I'm good with my hands. And that's what he kept saying. I'm good with my hands. They showed a picture of the building, but they did not show a picture of the gentleman or what he looked like in that situation. So we don't know if he was well kept or if he was, like the media will portray homeless people all dirty and grungy and, with outdated clothing and, smelly and all that stuff. We don't know. So he was talking about, the older gentleman was saying, I'm good with my hands. And he kept showing up and he kept saying, I'm going to come back. I'm not coming back to destroy your property. I'm coming to help you because I know for me, this is not my situation. I'm good with my hands. And they kept just repeating that. So, the younger gentleman, the real estate investor, was saying, okay, you can come back. He was a little leery because, again, I guess in their area, it was actually a bad crime area. So I can give him that. So he was saying because in that area where he was, the crime was, kind of bad. It wasn't a very good area. Hence the reason it was probably, outdated and run down and, torn down, and they had to take care of it. So with that, the older gentleman, he stayed there. He stayed, he worked, he helped. And the real estate investor was saying, after, a few days, the first day, he thought, okay, well, he'll work and then he'll leave and I'll never see him again. He showed up the very next day. He showed up the very next day to say, you know what, again, let me remind you, I'm not who you think that I am. I am good with my hands. So the real estate investor was saying, after a while, he became very comfortable with him. He could leave his tools around him, his equipment, his materials, whatever have you. And he was saying that they were like thousands of dollars. And because he began, the homeless man, the older gentleman, showed him that he was trustworthy, he left his equipment around him and his materials around him. Do you know he ended up being able to stay there at no charge? I believe he said at no charge, and just maintain the property and manage the property. And that's what this is all about. Because we know that not every homeless person, yes, there are chronically homeless people that regardless of what you do, that they may be homeless. Whether it's whether it's a medical situation, whether it's just I just refuse to do better. There are those kind of people in every walk of life. They don't necessarily have to be homeless. You could be sheltered and just do the very basics that you need to do to get by. But because of those that are wanting to do better, we know that there's an opportunity for them. We want to get, as much as we can, to make sure that we can get these houses. We want to, even with the houses, once we get the money, the intent is get the money, and for those who can afford to pay, subsidize either the rent or the mortgage that we're able to get. So that is the plan, because we don't want to always have to come and say, okay, well, we need $50,000 for this, we need $50,000 for this, because after a while, people are going to think, well, what did you do with my money? Even I applied for a grant, and one of the grants said, well, what is it that you're intending to do, to make sure that this is like a one-time situation? Because everyone doesn't want to just always hand out money. I know if you're like me, I don't want to just, I don't want to have friends that are always asking me for money. That's never my intent. After a while, that gets old. That gets old really quickly. Because if you always, hey, you got $5? Hey, you got $10? Hey, do you have $100? Or hey, do you have $500 so I can, get this house or pay this person's rent for a month? After a while, you're not going to want to do that, because you're going to want to think that, oh, all they need me is for money. We want to become self-sustaining. So with the houses, we want to make sure that, the people are able to take care of them, provide a nominal amount, and that'll be determined based on the rent, based on the mortgage, based on whatever we can get. If we can get, even an outdated house, that's something that we can get for cheap and, just fix it up, we would love to do that and own it outright. We want to make sure we're not in the business of real estate, but we are in the business of ownership, because we want to make sure that we have something that is forever ours. Because even if, let's say, God forbid, something happens to me tomorrow, I want this organization to live. I want it to thrive. This is my baby, but it's my baby because I see a purpose for it. I don't want it to just be, oh, well, if Dominique's not here, it doesn't run. No, I want this to go on forever. Again, let's say something happens to me tomorrow and I'm not available for any reason. I'm not even going to say that it's death. I wouldn't wish death on anyone. But let's say for any reason I'm not available. I got a promotion and I moved out of town, or, anything like that. Can it still survive? And we want to make sure that any house that we get, if we can get it and own it outright, that we can. It's 8:50 now. I want to make sure that everyone has the Telethon number. So I'm gonna give you a second to get something to write with. Okay, so the telethon number is 855-953-3399. We have outsourced it to we have an answering service because, to be honest and be transparent, I did not know how the volume was going to go today. So if you get someone, just be a little patient with them because they don't have the passion like me. So they can't tell you bam, 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 every single question that you want to answer. So be patient. Understand that they are here to help you, assist you with your donation. And if you're calling just to get information, they're able to help you with that as well. Hopefully you call to make a donation. Again, it is tax deductible. We are registered with the state to accept and ask for donations. So we've done all our legal groundwork. We've done everything that we need to do so we can be present today. Again, the number is 855-953-3399. And again, if you want to follow us, we are on social media. Our Facebook handle is Operation Turning Point. Everything is spelled out. Our Instagram handle is Operation T Point. Instagram, you have to kind of shrink it. So I followed the same thing on Twitter. It's Operation T Point. We kind of, if you look on one or the other, I kind of tried to make them all the same for the most part because I don't know what platform, users are going to be comfortable with. And I want you to be able to see the same thing. I don't want you to go on Facebook and be like, oh, I didn't see that. I didn't know what was going on because you looked on Instagram and you saw something. No, I want to make sure that whatever we do, you know about it. Because I want to make sure that if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, if you want to share, if you just want to advocate for us, if you want to say, you know what, Dom, I can't do either. But you know what? I love what you guys are doing and I support you. Let me share. Again, just sharing a post is very important because you never know. That post, you sharing a post, it might, let's say I'm not the person. You sharing a post and I see it, again, taking me out of the equation, you sharing the post, I see it, I might be able to talk to, so-and-so beside me and say, hey, do you have $50? If you get 50, I'll get 50. That's the 100 that they need right now. So you never know what you can do. And I don't want anyone to think that, oh, I can only donate 50 or I can only donate 5. I don't care if you can only donate $1. $1, again, remember, $1 can feed one person. Don't ask me how we do it. We do it. $1 can feed one person. That's one meal that they didn't have to worry about. That's one meal that they didn't have to, say, well, oh gosh, what can we do? Because, yeah, although we partner with Mercy Chefs, you have to think about, we still need to make sure that we can get there because they don't deliver, so we have to pick it up. And that's not a problem. Again, this is not a complaint because they've done above and beyond. But we want to make sure that we even have a way to do so. Because like I said, even the smaller donations, they help to get gas. Because like I said, because for us, we're doing it on our personal time. If I'm here at the church from 5 to 7, that's my personal time. But after that, whatever we don't get rid of here at the church, we take it out and deliver it to people in the community. So if you see me making a post late at night and it's Tuesday or Thursday, ma'am, sir, I am probably still out delivering food. Because let's say, someone gets sick and they're our delivery driver. I had a situation where, one of our delivery drivers got sick. And they said, hey, I can't do it today, but I can take care of it tomorrow, on Thursday. You got to think, well, I still need to get rid of that food. But you know what? There are still people that are hungry. There are still people that have need. There are still people that, have a desire to eat. So, yeah, although that person couldn't deliver their 30 to whoever they deliver to, I can find 30 more people that I can deliver food to. But, again, that takes gas. So, again, I don't want you to think that, oh, I only have $1, I only have $2, I only have 50, I only have 100. Because I'm not going to offend you in your wallet. Whatever you have, we can use. We have filled out our 990 so you can see that we are, compliant with the IRS. We've even had to share our bank statement with some, different organizations that want to make sure we have a valid, identity. So although we're not going to share our bank statement, you will get a receipt for your donation. And then if you ever want to follow up and find out where your specific donation went, absolutely call us. Our local number is here. I don't want to give out a separate number because I don't want people to call that number looking to get information. I want you to have a Telethon number just for today. But if ever you want to track what we're doing, if ever you want to track and see, hey, what are you guys up to today? Whether you want to help or you just want to inquire and see, maybe you're in need. Maybe you're watching this live. I'm not even going to say it's just donors watching this live. Maybe you are in need. If you are ever in need, I've had people to call and say, hey, are you giving out meals today? Absolutely. Come on Tuesday, come on Thursday from 5 to 7. You don't have to come inside the church. We have a drive up. I'm usually out there either with my truck or I have a tent, and I want to make sure that you have, food. Are you ready? You ready?
Yeah,
all right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm about to share this with Willie Brown of Praise 104.9 and WPMH The Lighthouse. So definitely stay tuned in. We are here until 8 p.m. tonight, so you have 12 hours to tune in. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi. Good morning. Hey, good morning. Listen, this is an awesome day, and it's a little weird because my idea of doing a telethon would have been having a whole bunch of people in there. You remember Jerry Lewis? I always wanted to be one of Jerry's kids. I used to be in a wheelchair, so apparently I'm not eligible for Jerry's kids now. But listen, I need you guys to do me a favor. First of all, I'm W.C. Brown from Praise 92.5, 104.9, 1270 AM, 1650 AM, and the Lighthouse 100.1, 96.9, 1010 AM, and WWIP. So this telethon is really important, and it's virtually done. So we have to really hype it up inside here in the sanctuary. We're at the Tabernacle of Praise here at 1613A West Pembroke Avenue here in the city of Hampton. And we've got guests coming through, and we're going to pull this thing off like we got 1 million people in here. So listen, I need you to call this number. I first urge, and I challenge every radio announcer, every radio executive, everybody that's under the sound of my voice, if you have anything to do with radio or TV, I challenge you today to meet me with $100 for this telethon today. Okay? I challenge you. I double challenge you to meet me with $100. They've got the Cash App. Cash App is $ Operation PP. Operation TP. Yeah, Operation T as in Tom, P as in Paul. Operation TP. So listen, do that today. I've got some great guests coming on today. And as always, I'm so happy to be with Erica Campbell and TL and Doc Christian and Dolly McCoy, Willie Moe Jr. So really want you to come in today and help us to raise these funds. I can see myself now. Okay. We'll be here until 8 o'clock tonight, and we've got some great guests coming on. So I need you to dial 855-953-3399. There is a real old lady at the desk waiting for your call. You're falling asleep, so call and call often, okay? We're trying to help people who need a hand up, not a hand out. And it's, I always say homelessness is not who they are, but it's the situation that they're in. So every time anybody can be homeless. We're in this pandemic, we did a food drive, and this lady got up in line, and she was looking really, she was dressed really nice. And one of the people said, well, why is she in this line? She must be coming to get some food for somebody. Well, no, this lady was executive secretary who's no longer working. She needed food. She has 5 kids at home. So don't ever judge a book by its cover. And do not judge, period, because you never know when you're going to face that situation. That's why it's really important that your relationship with not just God, but your relationship with people is good, because anytime you will need somebody, and when you've been around burning bridges, and when it comes down for your need, you're going to be short. So we're going to keep this up lively. We got some good people coming today. I've got Jonas Run. They have the hottest single out in the country, Love So Loud. T.D. Sean, he's coming in. I mean, this brother, he's in the army, but he is a soldier in the hip hop rap game. And DJ Ronnie Ron, he's going to be here at noon. So we're going to be outside as well. So you can come outside. And I want everybody in Hampton, Newport News, just to be nosy. Y'all be nosy anyway. So anytime there's an accident, y'all always looking to see what it looked like. So you're going to hear the music outside. You're going to see our praise tent. And DJ Ronnie Ron is going to be out there in 1 or 2. And later on tonight, Cocoa Butter. The legendary Cocoa Butter is going to be here from 6 to 7 with the Caribbean gospel praise. So you get a chance to listen to her. At 12 o'clock, we've got the Talk Over radio hosts, Kimberly Griffin, Warren Griffin, Nadine Owens. They'll be here for 2 hours. We've got some preachers coming in to give you some words of inspiration. So this is going to be a great day. This is really going to be a great day. 855-9553. 855-953-3399. 855-953-3399. I need you all to light up those phones. Light them up. Okay? I challenge all the preachers to call today. All the preachers call today. Where our goal is $50,000. That may not be a lot, because there are so many homeless. But if we can help 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 people who will have an opportunity to lay their head. Many of y'all got up this morning with that pillow head laid to the side because you had a pillow to lay on. But many of them didn't have that because of their heads. And it's sad enough that we're in this pandemic, and people are already suffering. Even able-bodied people are suffering during this pandemic. So can you really imagine what's going on with our population, homeless population? Some of them don't even access to masks. They don't have access to gloves. They don't have access to hand sanitizer. And it's really sad. So you know what? Those of us that God has blessed, let me just tell you how blessed I am. See, for 9.5 years, I was in a wheelchair, injured in combat. I was in a wheelchair. And with a law degree and 2 master's degrees, I couldn't even spell the word cat, C-A-T. And 4 or 5 years ago, my bishop, shout out to Bishop Jerome Williams, New Testament Church, laid hands on me. He said I was going to walk. And you see, I'm walking today. So I have so much to be grateful for. I have so much to be thankful for. And I'm not taking anything for granted because, with all that, my accolades and music and all that stuff there, I was an invalid. So all that didn't mean anything. So only what you do for Christ will last. So let's think about that today. Only what you do for Christ will last. So you have an opportunity to help his children. Whether they're saved or not, whether they worship God or not, they're still people who need help. And through your gifts, through your donations, we can help not just change their situation, their living situation, but we can change their situation of how they live their life. I'm going to have some people here today. They're going to talk about how to live beyond the donation. Many people get donations and they live for that one day. They can't wait to get to Walmart or Target, Kroger, wherever, and then there's nothing left for the next day. So I'm going to have somebody to come today and tell you, once you get that money in your hand, how you can prepare and live beyond tomorrow. you can live beyond tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next year. So, life insurance, we're going to talk about that today. Got a young man that has a car dealership, and he actually teaches you how to pay your car off early without having to pay more of a car payment. I mean, that's just a blessing. You know what I'm saying? And to help your credit. 855-953-3399. That's the number to dial. That's the number to call for your donation to Operation Turning Point. Help us raise this $550,000 today. We can do it. We can do it. We do everything else. I know I must have spent $100 on fast food this week. You know? Just because I was greedy, I found a restaurant and I went in there. I thought I was just going there to see if they want to be on the radio, but I ended up getting some barbecue nachos. The next thing you know, I got a slab of ribs. Next thing you know, I got a pulled pork sandwich. Next thing you know, I bought a hamburger. I'm trying everything on their menu. But there are people that do not have that opportunity. That's just, to me, that was wasteful. You know, and I'm on this iced tea diet. Yes, my weight's coming down, so, you know, I kind of messed it up. And then I ended up going to this restaurant 3 days in a row because I had the urge. You know, but there's a lot of people with urges that can't take care of those urges. 855-953-3399. That's the number to call. That is the number to dial. I was here on the Alvin Brooks, Crusade for Christ. That's the number to call. That's the number to dial. So call that number. A little later on, we're also going to have William T. Stars. He has a great, great song, a gospel hip-hop artist called Going In. And a lot of these songs get really, really catchy, you know. And then, like I said, we got T.D. Sean and Nadine Owens and Emily Chanel, they'll be here. And we've got Kim Griffin. Let me do me a favor. Look at my car and give me that magazine on the front seat. There's a magazine called Bully magazine. Kimberly Griffin and Warren Griffin are the editors of Bully magazine. And the first edition came out in June. And the August edition just came out, August the 1st. It just came out, and I was just so shocked. I was so shocked to find out that yours truly is on the cover. That's right, that is me. Yeah, I made the cover of Bully magazine, and they're going to be here today with us, and I want you to also help them. Their story is very profound. She lost both her parents last year, and then her son committed suicide shortly after. So they came up with this magazine and also support Joey's heart. So a lot of people are suffering. I did 2 funerals this week. So people are leaving this world. So, you know, I always tell people, when I leave this world, I want to leave empty because I want to be able to know that I gave everything of myself while I was here on earth. 855-953-3399. That's the number to call to give you a donation. I told you that old lady there at the phone, she's waiting on you. I think she's going to hit my pager in a minute to let me know she's waiting. Because I believe she does have a pager and a flip phone. So call your cousin, call your friend, call your auntie, call your uncle, call grandma, call granddad. 855-953-3399. That's the number to call.